Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to H&H. I'm Tanner Hicks, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jackson Huey. We're back. Took a little 2-week off break because that draft thingy took a lot off us, but we're back. We're not really like NBA central focus, so we're not really talking about the playoffs, but time to get back on the podcast grind. Once after the NBA playoffs ends, though, we're gonna be back on that podcast grind. Though we're gonna be doing standings predictions for college football, standings predictions for the NFL, all this, all that. We're gonna be on top of things. But right now, today's episode, we're gonna be doing draft winners, draft losers, and overall just a draft recap. For the most part. The draft, first round, if you guys watched our live, was absolutely crazy. One of the craziest drafts that I've ever witnessed. Not a so many trades as far as like quantity.
Right.
The quality of trades were immense, immaculate, amazing. What are other synonyms? It was just a crazy first round of the draft. The second round started off crazy because Sam Laporta was the second tight end off the board when Michael Mayer was still up there. I thought the Lions were just going to snag Michael Mayer, but they didn't. They got Sam Laporta, which isn't a bad player, but based on consensus, he was taken a little early considering he was taken in front of Michael Mayer, who was arguably tight end one. Let's talk about the Lions. We're on the subject. Let's talk about the Lions, man. The Lions had an interesting draft. They take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, who some speculate he could have been a first-round pick. Most likely was moving closer to draft night. He was probably going to be a first-round pick. But the Lions took him at 12. And
a bit of a reach.
Surface level. You saw my reaction. I didn't really like it at the time. But now that I see it, you trade away DeAndre Swift. I don't even know what they got back for it, but you trade away DeAndre Swift. You obviously know Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. These are their guys, The Lions just went out and got the guys that they liked. It didn't really matter of draft position, right? It's just like Jack Campbell at 18. The next linebacker off the board was at 67. So they take Jack Campbell at 18. Right now, I would have, if you told me Jack Campbell, if you told me before the draft that Jack Campbell's gonna be a first round pick, might have believed you. Maybe the Chiefs take him at the back end. The Bills, take him. Usually when linebackers go off in the first round, they come at the back end. The good teams can afford to reach on a linebacker. Like we saw.
If you would have told me Jack Campbell was gonna go in the top 20, I'd have slapped you.
18, it's a little bit of a reach, but like he's a very Jack Campbell is a very Dan Campbell linebacker though. It's I could see him working in Detroit. He's not a bad player. I don't maybe he's gonna be a top 18 player in the draft one day, but I don't know when the next linebacker after him goes at 67. Some may call that a reach. Just some people. But Jack Campbell's a good player.
Nolan Smith went at 30, right? Or 20?
Off-ball linebacker.
Oh, okay.
See, what made it even more like puzzling these picks at first glance is these aren't very valuable positions in the NFL. You see teams like linebacker is a position you could hit on in the later rounds. Like Fred Warner was the 3rd round pick. Bobby Wagner was the 3rd round pick. You name more guys. Like usually you could these guys are just replaceable in the mid rounds and the later rounds. It's hard to do that, but it can be done. And the Lions just went the complete opposite of like the draft philosophy for like the 29 of the franchises. They just went running back at 12, off-ball linebacker at 18, and just called it a first round. And maybe it'll work out. But my thing is, if you want your guy and he's on the board, go get your guy. Don't risk trading down and him not being there. And that's just what the Lions did. They went out and they got the guys that they liked. And I can't really fault a team for doing that. If you just go out and get the guy that you like. And if he's a reach and you pass on a guy that was better, I mean, you just got to live with that. The draft's just a crapshoot, all in all. Pretty much. So the Lions had an interesting first round. The rest of their draft was pretty cool. Like Sam Laporta was a surprise pick at 34, I believe. I think he was 34. It just says round 2, pick 3. I think he was 34. He went ahead of Michael Mayer, who some thought was tight end 1, and Sam Laporta was the second tight end off the board. I think Sam Laporta is a good tight end. I think he was a top 5 tight end at the draft. This is a very, very deep stacked tight end class. So you could really argue for a lot of guys to be in a lot of different places in the top 5 of, that group of tight ends. Sam Laporta, he didn't really have a lot to showcase in that Iowa offense last year. Not a lot of people got a lot to showcase in that Iowa offense last year. In the Spencer Petras-led offense, good gravy. If you guys watched the podcast over the fall, you know how much Iowa infuriated me. Them in Miami, I hated their existence. Just absolutely awful. Anyway, Sam Laporta was like the only bright spot on that offense. He's a very comparing somebody to Travis Kelce is like far-fetched, I know, but he's a similar type of tight end to Travis Kelce. He's athletic, but he's not blowing your socks off athletic like Zach Kuntz from Old Dominion is. He's just he's sneaky athletic. He's like a make you miss type of player. He'll make plays for you. So yeah, I like Sam Laporta, but he's not like, he was a surprise to be taken over Michael Mayer. Overall, you look at the Hendon Hooker selection. Now, I said back in November that I didn't think Hendon Hooker was going to be drafted because of his torn ACL. Now, I thought that even him he is fully healthy now, but with no injury at all, I thought he would have been 5th, 6th, 7th round pick.
I don't think so.
Mainly because of the Tennessee offense. He's a 25-year-old quarterback and probably the most non-NFL friendly offense we've seen in some time.
I mean, that is true.
It's just you take a guy that you're planning on developing behind at least a year behind Jared Goff. He's 25, and he's going to need so much. Maybe he proves me wrong. I don't got anything against Hendon Hooker, but it's going to take a while for him to develop in an NFL offense. It takes almost every rookie quarterback for that. But this offense was really, really weird. Like, they had such a widespread offense.
100-play offense.
With the receivers nearly at the sideline most of the time. It's just super, super widespread odd offense. And
100-play offense.
Hooker is just going to have to, learn the ropes of the NFL. Obviously, every rookie's going to have to do that. But especially for him, the learning curve is going to be really high. Now, I'm gonna be the surprise of the draft to me. Was not the Texans trading up. Was not, what the Lions did. Not Bijan going at 8. Nothing. You know what the surprise of the draft to me was? Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett getting selected, and he got selected in the 4th. Man, this man played with Matthew Stafford at Georgia. Now he's going to be sitting behind Matthew Stafford in the NFL. Just a wholesome moment. Just a wholesome moment. Now, that's a tweet I saw. But Stetson, the fact that he got drafted surprises me. Now, Stetson is about 37 years old. And he's not great. He's cool
in the 4th round.
he's all right at everything.
in the fourth round.
He's decently accurate, and he's like his pocket presence is like is pretty good. It's like all you could say about Stetson Bennett. Like, yeah, he steps up to the moment. Like, okay, that cool. Like here, when you gotta win a spot on the roster, really help you. I mean, Stetson Bennett's cool. I don't have anything against Stetson Bennett, but when you're decently accurate, you have a decent pocket presence. You look at a guy like Joe Burrow. It be like, well, Joe Burrow got drafted first, and he had the same type of quarterback style that Bennett has, where he's got below average arm strength. He's pretty accurate, and he's got good pocket presence. No, Joe Burrow was elite, one of the most accurate passers ever coming out of the draft. His pocket presence was second to none that I've ever seen. And I know I'm glazing, but I'm just the comparisons and the below average arm strength. It's like when you put balls on the money every single time, like obviously the Bengals are going to look past that because he threw the most touchdowns yards ever to that point. Bennett didn't. And I know that wasn't it just didn't. And then I know that wasn't the Georgia offense. Like he didn't have Jefferson, Chase.
I said all year long, and I was just saying, even though Georgia won the national championship and beat the brakes off of TCU, Georgia's offense was not that good.
I mean, Georgia's offense was good. Like statistically, they had a top 5 offense in the nation. Which, when you look at the Georgia offense, it doesn't say it. Their numbers were inflated because
they had a short field a lot of times. I mean,
and because they just didn't play great teams all year, like SEC, whatever. But they killed South Carolina. I know you remember that, and they killed they killed some other teams. I know they struggled. I know the teams they struggled against.
Thanks for reminding me.
You're never gonna live that down. Hey, I got to deal with the freaking Elijah telling me about my Gator hype. So I'm letting it all out here.
I had nothing to do with that. I wasn't even known.
Bennett was. I say all this to say Bennett was drafted in the 4th round. I thought he was just going to be a UDFA, or maybe Mr. Irrelevant. Somebody's like, why not? Let's get him. The Rams got him in the 4th. They traded up for him. They went and got him. This is our guy. Our guy.
We gotta get him before somebody else does.
Sean McVay was like, this is our guy. Gotta go get him. Bro, that cracked me up. I was floored when Stetson Bennett was off the board in the 4th round. And then Sean Clifford goes to the Packers in the 5th. I didn't think he was going to be drafted. He's about 37 years old, too.
Yeah.
I remember watching him in 5th grade. I'm playing. But the draft was pretty crazy. I do. The draft was pretty crazy. No, he was the quarterback of Penn State when we went and watched the freaking Cotton Bowl.
He was. That was in 19.
That's 5 years ago. No, he played in 22, 21, 20, and 19. That's 4. I think he played the year before. Either way, he's pretty old. So, yeah, the draft was pretty crazy. And those are like the shock picks of mine. The Jack Campbell going at 18 when the next linebacker went at 67. That's a Bennett going at all. We'll move on to our winners and losers of the draft. The winners weren't so hard to pick. Like it was kind of like the 5th one. Getting a 5th one in there was a little tough. But the losers, man, you kind of have to go deep into reasoning on why this team lost the draft, because it's like you can't really say a team won or lost on like once the draft is over, because you have no idea how these prospects are going to turn out.
Yeah, so take everything we say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, like it's just surface level of like, these are gonna age. Some of these are gonna age horribly, like we know. So I'm gonna have you go with your first winner. We're gonna alternate winners and then we're gonna alternate losers.
My first winner.
First winner of the draft.
My first winner is the Seattle Seahawks. I think
Wow.
this was obvious.
I didn't have him in there.
You get Christian Gonzalez at
Witherspoon.
I mean, Devon Witherspoon. Not my bad. I'm tripping. You get Devon Witherspoon at 5, and then you get Smith and Jigba, making them one of the top 5 wide receiver rooms in the NFL, I think.
Yeah, especially since they run 3 receiver sets all the time.
Right.
Just a good slot receiver is so big.
So I have the Seahawks as my first winner.
Mine was Philadelphia. I think this was like a lot.
Like I said, these aren't in order. I'm not.
Yeah. This is the first one I wrote down. I didn't have Seattle in here at all. It'd probably be an honorable mention. It's just I have other teams in here. I have Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagle Dogs, whatever they're called. Whatever the nickname for them is now. They took a ton of Georgia players. The
Look at my Philadelphia Eagles hat.
that's crazy. The Eagles, clear winners of this draft. Howie Roseman hit a grand slam with this draft, in my opinion.
You get the best player in the draft at 9.
You trade up one spot to get your guy at number 9 and Jalen Carter. You take Nolan Smith at 30. I think if you asked anyone, you would have been fine with him at 10. You just would have. And you got him at 30, which is mind-blowing. You get Tyler Steen, who's one of really good offensive lineman prospect. You get Sidney Brown, arguably the best safety in the draft. You get him in the 3rd. You get Keely Ringo, a workaround player. He's got heard around that he's got 5-star syndrome. He thinks he's the guy.
His college got him picked.
Doesn't really put he was stamped as an Eagle after that first round. He's like, yeah, pack your bags, Mom. I'm going to Philadelphia. I heard around the league that he has 5-star syndrome where he thinks he's just the man. Doesn't really put the work in to back up what he thinks of himself. I mean, maybe that's a little workaround, but I think Keely Ringo, he has all the talent in the world. Tanner McKee, backup quarterback in the 6th. Why not? You got Moro Ajomo, good player. Overall,
I like the Tanner McKee pick more than I did the Stetson Bennett pick.
I thought Tanner McKee. Good gracious, man! I wouldn't have minded Tanner McKee in the 4th. Stetson Bennett was a 4th round pick, bro. We get to say that. What he's going to turn out as a Hall of Famer. He's going to have like a Drew Brees-arc career where he's just good in his 30s, and we're just going to look like I'm on a Bailey looking an idiot, just clowning the pick. Sean McVay's.
He's already 28, so.
Sean McVay's going to turn him into Hall of Famer. Anyway, the Eagles are my first winner. I don't think anybody can dispute that.
He's going to sit behind Matt Stafford. Then he's going to sit behind Caleb Williams his whole career, and then he's going to start and win 2 championships.
Going to leave in free agency and be the GOAT. All right, who's your next winner?
My next winner is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
The Broderick Jones pick is great for Najee Harris. And then the Joey Porter Jr. pick's a home run, I think. Yes. You got him at 32, which is essentially a first-round pick, but it's not.
Yes.
And
the Bears essentially midseason traded Joey Porter for Chase Claypool.
Yeah. So I got the Steelers.
I have the Steelers too. I'll just talk about them as well. You trade out for Broderick Jones ahead of the Jets, who were going to get a tackle. Fantastic pick. You get him at 14. Mahler in the run game.
No, was this the Patriots pick originally?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that thing? Belichick traded this pick just so the Jets couldn't get a tackle.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't Belichick's a genius. Not really a genius in the war room of late, but maybe he pulls a fast one on the Jets here. No, Broderick Jones, Mahler in the run game. Got Najee Harris and Broderick Jones are gonna be best friends. Joey Porter Jr. keep the bloodline going. The Steelers got a weird thing going of like just keeping relatives together or whatever. Like Joey Porter was a Steeler, his sons plays there. Like Derek Watt, T.J. Watt are on the team, and then like Cam Hayward, his brother Connor Hayward was drafted by them last year, like fullback. Weird family thing going on in Pittsburgh, but we won't talk about it.
Mike Tomlin likes chemistry.
Keanu Benson is a freak. He's the nose tackle, but he's like a freak athlete. From Wisconsin, they got him in the second round. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was like who the Chiefs got at 31, or like who the Saints got. He's a great player. Darnell Washington, he slid a lot, mainly because of like injury concerns in his leg, is what I heard. And I don't really know anything about the rest of the guys that they picked, but Steelers A+ draft in my opinion. Like if they like took bad players the rest of the draft after that Roger Jones pick.
I think Joey Porter Jr. will be a day one starter for them, and he's going to have to work at kinks out, I'm sure, but he'll be.
Oh yeah, but like people are worried about him because he's mainly a press man corner. He doesn't offer too much else outside of that. But the Steelers are a press man team, so
he'll be all right. He'll be fine. I mean, he's gonna have some kinks to work out, I'm sure, but he's gonna be all right.
He fits in like a glove in that team. I also have the Steelers, so I'll say somebody else. I have the Arizona Cardinals as a winner. The biggest reason why I say the Cardinals are winners in this draft, yeah, they get Paris Johnson at 6. I think you would have been fine with him at 3. I think you would have been fine with him at 3. You get Paris Johnson at 6.
Multi-finish.
You get PJ Ojulari in the second round, who is a really good edge prospect. You get Garrett Williams, cornerback prospect. Michael Wilson, he's injury concerns, but I think he can be. He's been compared to Michael Thomas. Voice crack. He's been compared to Michael Thomas. Maybe if you have a Michael Thomas player like that, you'll be fine. Clayton Tune in the 5th, I like that. I think he, Stetson Bennett went over him. That's all I got to say. Prove him wrong, Clayton. Keichiro Clark, I thought was a really good pick in the 6th. He had some injury concerns as well, and then he just really fell. Thought he would have been a good mid-round, like fourth round pick or something. But the main reason why I think the Cardinals won this draft is they have the Texans first round pick this year.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I didn't even factor that in. If I would have, I probably would have put them up.
They obviously you're confident in the Texans are going to be better next year.
Because right now the Cardinals are projected to have the first and second pick.
That's why I think it easily could be the top 2 picks in the draft next year. You could take a quarterback at the first pick, get rid of Kyler, whatever. You have so many options after this season what to do with your roster. So many. Even if the Texans do well, it's still going to be like a top 14 pick or top 12 pick or whatever, and you're going to suck. So you're going to have a top 3 pick guaranteed. It's just 2 first-round picks inside the top 12. I think it's a no-brainer that the Cardinals are going to be a winner here. And you get the best tackle in the draft at 6, who you probably would have been fine with at 3.
And who knows, you might get a Chicago Bears situation where you get a team that don't need a quarterback at number 1, and you can package those picks and move up if you want a quarterback.
Exactly. Cardinals are in a great spot right now. Great spot. I know they're just going to be terrible next year. But right now, with all the the draft capital that they have and whatnot, I think they're in a immaculate spot. That's why I have them as a winner.
My third team is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think you already said them, didn't you? Yeah, I should have said I had them when you said it, but I didn't. It's obvious reasons. You already touched on it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it.
Philadelphia Eagle Dogs, Bull Eagles, whatever. My next team is the Green Bay Packers. I just really like their draft. They had a solid draft. The Packers are a really good drafting team. I loved the Lucas Van Ness pick at 13. I said right before that they picked, I said Lucas Van Ness just feels like a Packer, and he went and with that pick. He could play all over the defensive line, play wherever you want him to play. He's gonna excel in that role. I love Lucas Van Ness. With that pick, they picked Luke Musgrave in the second round. Top 5 tight end for me. really good player. He was dealt with injuries last year. Didn't really play a lot. But in 2021, he's really, really good. So I think I love Luke Musgrave for this pick. Jaden Reed, speed freak at wide receiver. They didn't really have that. I mean, Christian Watson's a really fast guy, but he's a big body receiver. Same with Romeo Doubs. He's not really just this short slot guy. Romeo Doubs is pretty big, and you get Jaden Reed to put in the slot in between Dobbs and Christian Watson, and then you get Luke Musgrave at tight end. I think the Packers offense is sneaky good for Jordan Love. They also take Tucker Kraft in the third. You get 2 tight ends. The Packers run 2 tight end sets all the time. It's a really good draft. They take Sean Clifford, I mentioned earlier, in the 5th. I don't really like that. Dotavian Wicks out of Virginia, I like the pick. Developmental receiver. Carrington Valentine, I liked in the 7th. Same with Lou Nichols, running back. Just overall, I like the Packers draft overall.
Yeah, I mean, My 4th team is the Houston Texans.
You had the Texans as a winner? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you get Stroud, and then you get Will Anderson back to back. You got 2 of the best players in the draft, I think.
Right.
And then I really like the Josh Downs pick. No, not Josh Downs. I'm on the wrong team. My bad. I'm thinking too far ahead of myself. Tank Dell pick. And then you also picked up Xavier Hutchinson to help out Stroud too, because they need receiver bad. But you could also credit them as a loser because, like you said, they gave up their 1st round pick this year.
I wouldn't have said they were a loser. Obviously, just getting Stroud and Will Anderson just trumps that loser card. Just like it's not possible.
Yeah, it does, but
it's just what you gave. It's like the Thanos meme. Like
they also got 2
we got
centers.
Everything, but at what cost? Yeah, Jarrett Patterson is a really good pick in the 6th round. I thought he would have been like 3rd round pick, to be honest, but he fell all the way to the 6th. I think he could play guard. Juice Scruggs probably could also play guard, but
yeah,
I don't think the Texans are losers. I didn't have them as a winner, but it's just the 1st round pick this year that they're worried about. Maybe they're just relying on the Browns to just be super bad this year, because they do have the Browns 1st round pick. They're just relying on the Browns to be super bad, so they have a high pick, and they just bet on themselves, which I can respect. But just not having your own 1st round pick after you had the 2nd pick this year is just cause for concern. That's why I didn't have him as a winner. But I don't hate it that you do. My last winner was the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts they're
me too.
They had an agenda going into the draft. I forget their GM's name. Chris Ballard had an agenda going into the draft.
I love the Josh Downs pick. This is where I was thinking.
They had an agenda going in the draft. They've had this agenda for the past few drafts. Just athlete. With every single pick, they took an exceptional athlete, and they knocked this draft out of the park. They took Anthony Richardson at 4. Some people hate this pick. I don't know how you could. Anthony Richardson is statistically the most athletic quarterback of all time. What else do you want me to say? He's really, really good. You look at his he can't throw. He has a low completion percentage. But his receivers were terrible at Florida last year. And plus it was a run-heavy offense. Billy Napier, go ahead.
I want your opinion on this. What does Anthony Richardson getting picked do for Joe Milton's height? Joe Milton's stock. Similar frame, similar athleticism.
Not similar athleticism. He's not anywhere near the athlete that Anthony Richardson is. I think Milton's got a rocket arm. That's what he's mainly known for. Is he just throws the ball 89 yards. I think Joe Milton could be a 1st round pick just depending on what he can do next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's if Hyper uses him right, I think it would be a 1st round pick.
Obviously, Josh Heupel's offense is weird. It's the same reasons I gave for Hendon Hooker. It's going to be a learning curve going to the NFL, but Hooker has all the the tangibles you want. He's pretty athletic, but I'm saying I don't think he's anywhere near the athlete that Anthony Richardson is. Like I said earlier, he's the most athletic quarterback of all time. And I don't know. I think Joe Milton could be a first-round pick. I don't know necessarily that Anthony Richardson pick 4 helps Joe Milton's stock. I think just Joe Milton, if he plays well, is just going to be a first-round pick because he's super tall. He's big. He's like Richardson is a height, weight, speed freak.
I think it kind of takes the pressure off of Milton that he doesn't have to go out there and just blow him out of the water because Richardson didn't. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but Richardson is like, we've never seen a quarterback like him. That's why he was a top 5 pick. Like he has the high. I think he has the highest ceiling of player in this draft. Space. He's a height, weight, speed freak. He has a arm, and he's he got better throughout the season. Like he wasn't super great, but he got better throughout the season, and I think that's what the Colts saw in him, and that's really what the Colts saw in like every draft pick that they took. They took Anthony Richardson at 4. Obviously, they took Julius Brents, another height, weight, speed freak, super long arms. He ran super fast at corner. I think you could have made an argument he could have been a first-round pick. Same with Josh Downs. He fell all the way to the 3rd round. I picked him to go to the Giants in the 1st round, one of our mock drafts. Like I wish the Titans went up and snagged him. Anyway,
I wish we would have got him.
Josh Downs goes in the 3rd. Blake Freeland, one like really athletic tackle, can play guard as well. Adetamwe Adebawore.
There you go.
I'm not saying that right. Adetamwe Adebawore.
Yeah, you probably aren't, but
respectfully, I'm trying. Adetamwe Adebawore. Whatever. The end from the edge from Northwestern. Took in the 4th round. I wouldn't have been surprised if he got taken in the 2nd round. Like just the Colts knocked it out of the park with this draft with these athletes. Daniel Scott, good athlete. Will Mallory, good athlete for the tight end position. Evan Hull, sneaky athletic. That means he's white. Sneaky athletic running back. Darius Rush, just, good cornerback prospect out of South Carolina. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was a 2nd round pick. Just a really, really Jake Witt also like super good. I think he's like one of these guys that just hasn't been playing football for long, and then he was a tight end, switched to Witt's a former tight end basketball player who switched to tackle. Just a super freak at tackle, and then they get him in the 7th. Just I hate that the Colts are in our division. Just Chris Ballard just knocked it out of the park with this draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Because I had him as my 5 too. Now this is where the fun begins, is these 5 losers.
You go first, because I'm not real sure about my list.
Yeah, I got mine, but all right, my first loser, and I'm gonna call him a loser because I feel like they didn't.
We're all gonna call these guys losers, but I don't know. But it's just video clicks for views, I guess. I don't know.
My first loser is the New York Jets.
The Jetties, I didn't have them.
I feel like they failed to address tackle. They got one. They got one.
I think they said that if their guy wasn't at 15, that they just weren't going to go tackle.
Yeah, but I feel like you needed a tackle, I
mean, the next guy was. Who was the next guy at tackle? I don't know.
The guy from Ohio State. The other guy from Ohio State was there.
DeJuan Jones went in the 4th.
Yeah.
He's probably the biggest human I've ever seen. He's like 6'8", almost 400 pounds.
He's huge. But
DeJuan Jones might be the freakiest guy ever.
I don't hate the Will McDonald pick. I think it was a reach. Joe Tippmann's probably their best pick of the draft.
I agree.
Carter Warren, O-tackle. He's not. I don't think he's a starter. For
developmental guy, similar to Max Mitchell, who they have.
And in the 5th round, they get a run. They get a running back in the 5th. I don't think they really need a running back.
I mean, all the running backs that they do have can't stay healthy. So
that is true. I would have liked to see him throw another wide receiver in the mix for Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe, but they signed they signed Randall Cobb, they signed Lazard.
Yeah.
You know, they get guys they already have.
Yeah, Packers don't give me no help. I want the same help I had in Green Bay.
Yeah, I did like there's the Zach Kuntz pick that they took in the 7th round. He is like he tested as the most athletic tight end of all time at 6'8", 250 pounds. Like crazy. Absolutely wild. The Jets got him in the 7th, which was pretty cool. But he needs to develop as like a route runner, as a catcher, all that type of stuff. So we'll see how that goes. I like the Jets draft. I didn't think Will McDonald was like just a super reach. I think Iowa State didn't use him right at all. They put him in the 4i, which isn't like the edge at all. And you look at a guy coming off the edge, just at the very edge of the offensive line, so I called it an edge rusher. And he played in like the 4i, which is similar to like 3 tech, where he's like inside between the guard and the tackle. Just not what he at all. And I think Iowa State used him wrong, and it didn't really put him in a position to succeed. But the Jets didn't care. They think that they can, use him right with the, Carl Lawson probably won't be on the team for much longer. But who knows where Bryce Huff's going to go next year. So I don't mind the Will McDonald pick. I think he's super bendy. He's a good athlete, and I think he has, the upside to be a really good passer in the league. So I didn't really mind the Will McDonald pick at all. But I can see why you'd have him as a loser. There are a lot of questions. My first loser is Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins didn't have a ton to work with at all. They traded all their picks for Tyreek Hill, which is like, you can't really blame them. But they take Cam Smith, which I like the pick. I also like the Devon Achane pick. They're just building this track team that they already have. Devon Achane was like one of the fastest guys tested at the combine, and they just, knew he was going to be a Dolphin the second that happened. They took 4 guys in this draft. They took 4 guys. And you can only weigh that so much to be like, how, like, do you blame them for trading for Tyreek, all this type of stuff. But, I don't think they could have maximized, this draft is.
Yeah.
I think they could have maximized it more than what they did. I like the Cam Smith pick. I like the Devon Achane pick. It's just, Elijah Higgins and Ryan Haynes, like, took 4 guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to not put you as a loser.
My next team's similar to that. I got the Broncos. The Broncos, I wasn't really.
Wow, really? That's surprising. I didn't think the Broncos had a bad draft at all.
I don't know. I just feel like there were other needs I could have got, maybe tried to address.
I mean, they only took 5 guys. But, they take J.L. Skinner. If he didn't get hurt last year, probably would have been considered the best safety in the class. They take Alex Forsythe, who's a developmental center. But they take Riley Moss, white cornerback, stand up. Drew Sanders, who's like a hybrid edge inside guy. The Broncos can really play him wherever they want. They take Marvin Mims, the slot receiver, which I thought,
they had some decent picks, but
I could see why. Like,
yeah, I think they missed out on some. They missed out on some guys that they could have used. I think so.
I understand why, but I think they maximize what they like with those picks.
And not to mention their original pick was Devon Witherspoon.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really need another cornerback in that room, so. But they could have taken something else with that pick. I see what you're saying, but I disagree, respectfully. My second loser was the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now, I almost put them on here.
This isn't like Titans bias or whatever. It's just like they had a weird draft, in my opinion. They take Anton Harrison at 28, which he was the next tackle. Forgot about him. He's the next tackle the Jets could have taken it at 4 or at 15.
Yeah.
I feel like the Jaguars were put in a weird situation with like the Cam Robinson suspension, losing Juwan Taylor in free agency. They kind of felt backed into a corner, in my opinion, where they just had to get a tackle. And that's what I think that they did with this pick. I don't really. I like Anton Harrison. Yeah, I think he's a really, really good pass protector. I think him and Trevor Lawrence are going to be best friends. But I just feel like this felt like a rushed pick, in my opinion. Just, everything that just got shoved on the Jaguars. I feel like, well, we got to take them now, It just felt like that felt like a type of pick. Tank Bigsby in the 3rd round was another really, really surprising pick. I thought Tank Bigsby was, he's a good player. Like he's big. He's a tank himself. I just didn't really think he was a 3rd round player. I think that's kind of all he is as a running back. He's just big, goal line back, get you touchdowns. Antonio Johnson in the 5th, I did like. Also, the Brandon Strange pick also in the 2nd round, a little bit questionable. But overall, this wasn't a terrible draft class. I like the Parker Washington pick in the 6th. Just some questionable picks. They took a fullback as well in the 7th, which is pretty cool. But yeah, they were one of my losers where it just felt like their picks were kind of questionable.
Yeah. My next team is the New England Patriots.
Wow. That's surprising. Wow.
All right. I love the first 2 picks. After that, it's just
Wow. Let me look at New England here for a second.
Okay, they get a kicker in the 4th round.
Okay.
They get a punter in the 6th round.
Okay.
I don't know. A kicker and a punter in the same draft.
Is that why they lost for you? They took a kicker and a punter?
I mean, no, that's not all of it. I just think, I don't know. I mean, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I like the Christian Gonzalez pick is a home run pick by Bill Belichick, and I like
that's the best pick in the entire draft.
Yeah, I agree, and I like the Keon White pick too. But outside of that, I just can't say I'm a huge fan of any of the rest of them.
Wow, I thought the 2 picks would have it's to have them, the Patriots stamped as like at least in the middle. Like at the Marte Mapu pick.
But if you look at the amount of picks they had and what they picked, where they picked, you know what I mean?
I mean, they were all mainly late mid-round picks. They had 3/4 and 4 6th-round picks. I mean, you're not going to hit on a lot of those picks. It's just the reality.
But a kicker in the 4th, I mean.
I mean, that's just Bill for you, I mean, you get Christian Gonzalez at 17 after trading down. I thought he could have gone at 5.
Yeah,
I thought he was the best corner in the draft. You get him at 17, already home run. You already won the game. Walk off home run with that one. You can leave. And then you get Keon White in the 2nd round, which he was invited to the 1st round. He's a good player. He's a really, really smart guy. He goes to Georgia Tech. He's pretty cool. Really good edge prospect right there. And then Marte Mapu, I thought, was one of the more interesting guys in the draft. Daniel Jeremiah said he was his favorite guy in the draft. He's just interesting. Inside linebacker. He went before Drew Sanders and guys like that. Feels like a Patriots player. The rest of the draft was pretty cool. Jake Andrews, probably going to replace one of their aging linemen here soon. Just they did take Kayshon Boutte in the 6th round, which I thought, Kayshon Boutte, if you look at his 2020, you would have thought this guy would have been a top 5 pick, right? But the past 2 years stunk the bed. Just didn't try, and he's a 6th round pick. But I think this is probably the best possible situation you could put him in for him to thrive. I could see Kayshon Boutte, his range of where he could be as an NFL player is probably the widest in this draft. Maybe you could say outside of Anthony Richardson, but it's just he has a potential to be like a really, 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 really like a top 10 receiver in the NFL, or just like out of the league in 3 years. just he has that type of range as a player. I didn't mind taking a shot on him in the 6th round. So I like personally, I like the Patriots draft. We obviously had different thinking here. This losers one, I knew we were gonna have some like different people. It's not really that these teams lost again, but I don't know. It all comes down to opinion. My next loser was the Dallas Cowboys.
I could see
Dallas
that.
Cowboys. Let's look at Dallas here. Let's look at Jerry's world. I like the story of the Deuce Vaughn pick. I think that was pretty cool. His dad told him he got drafted, all that. I think that's pretty cool to see and all that. Outside of that, they think Mozzie Smith, who's a run defender. He has pass rush upside, but he's mainly just a run defender right now. Luke Schoonmaker, another Michigan guy. I mean, he's really old is like the thing I have with him. He's like already 20, 24, 25 already. Wouldn't have been my selection right there at tight end. Damarian Overshown is a developmental linebacker. He's not like terrible. Obviously has some cleaning up to do with his game, but the rest of the draft, just an draft from the Cowboys. Just
Yeah, I agree.
So I have them,
but I don't have them on there. My 4th team, same division, is the Washington Commanders.
The Commanders.
I just feel like they reached the light and got a lot of bad value. Like Emmanuel Forbes, I like Emmanuel Forbes, but you could have got him later, I think. But I go back to the same thing with the Lions. If you like your guy, get him. But you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, if you told me Emmanuel Forbes went before Christian Gonzalez, I would have pushed you down a flight of stairs. I'm sorry, Elijah, but
and I'm not saying Emmanuel Forbes is bad. I mean, he's a good corner.
He's not. I would have thought he would have won like early day 2 if he fell there.
Yeah, he's a good corner, but I just didn't see him going above Christian Gonzalez or
at all.
Yeah, no,
at all.
I feel like they missed there. I feel like it should have been Gonzalez, but obviously like Forbes better.
He went above Deonte Banks as well. Like I would have thought that that's just who they were going to go with. Keep the hometown guy there. They need corner.
I think they could have used a tight end or a linebacker. Linebacker maybe not in the first round, but tight end, they could have went Michael Mayer or somebody in the first round, I think. Tight end would have helped a lot, especially for a young quarterback.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they're by far still the worst team in the NFC East.
Yeah. And they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Chase Young, which I mentioned on draft night. I think they could have gone edge.
Yeah, they definitely could have got it. Well, they got Andre Jones Jr. in the 7th, but they could have went edge at 16 and got a lot better help than that. No offense to Andre Jones Jr.
Yeah, I could see why Washington. I probably could have put Washington there too. Washington, their draft's kind of stinky, kind of putrid. My next loser, as much as I hate to say it, is Atlanta. Now, I loved the Bijan pick. If you watched the draft live stream, I kind of freaked out.
Talking about you were on swap teams.
when they took John, Bijan Robinson is a top 5 player in the draft. I was not surprised to see him go at 8. Arthur Smith, run heavy offense. He's probably going to be the top 5 fantasy selection this year. Bijan's going to be good. He's probably going to be a top 10 running back instantly. Like the second he puts on pads, he's going to be a top 10 running back in my opinion. It's just everything else was just kind of They take Bergeron in the 2nd round, hybrid guard tackle. I think, He could probably start, fight to start in training camp. Zach Harrison, really, really highly touted recruit, just didn't do much at the college level in Ohio State. Just he probably, you look back at 2020, probably this guy, you look at him, he's probably going to be a first round pick, lock. But then he goes in the third round here in 2023. But Clark Phillips, people are like confused like why he goes this late. It's like, I think he was like, did he win the Thorpe Award? Like best corner?
I don't remember.
Maybe he didn't. He was probably a finalist. But people are like, man, this guy's really good. He's super, super, super short. Like he was only going to be a slot corner in the NFL, and obviously the teams in the NFL don't value that position as much as I think they probably should. But Clark Phillips goes in the fourth. Like they had a decent draft, all things considered. But in my opinion, it's not good enough for me to not put them in the loser spot.
On my last team, I went back and forth for a while. It was hard to pick a lot. The last team was the hardest one to pick.
Yeah.
I went. You're gonna call me crazy when I say this. I went with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers? Let's look at LA. Let's look at LA's draft. Explain yourself.
All right. I think Quentin Johnston was the wrong style pick. Like we said all of the mock draft, I think a speed guy would have been better alongside the towers they already had.
Yeah, but Quentin Johnston's probably, you could argue, he's the most athletic wide receiver in the draft. He's got rack.
I would agree.
He's got rack. Then you got Mike Williams, who's your typical X receiver, just go up and get it type of receiver. Then you got your slot guy in Keenan Allen, just your chain mover, right? And then you got Quentin Johnston, who's your playmaker. You dump it to him underneath, he'll get you 15 yards when you think he's going to get 5, like that type of guy. The Chargers didn't have that. We harped all along about needing speed, but I didn't mind the Quentin Johnston pick. He's an athletic playmaker. Is what they need.
I don't disagree. I just feel like a speed, like Zay Flowers would fit better.
Right.
I think the best pick is Tuli. I'm probably not gonna say this right. Tuli. All right, you go ahead and say it because I'm the
Tui Pulo too.
All right, there we go. I think that's their best pick. That's to me.
Edge USC. I like Tui Pulo too. He's gonna be a developmental guy behind
Max Duggan was undraftable. Why did you pick Max Duggan?
I mean, in the 7th round, it's like you take him in the 7th round.
I don't care. Max Duggan was undraftable.
I think he was more draftable than Stetson Bennett.
both of them were undraftable.
And then you go, they take Stetson Bennett in the 4th round. I'm gonna keep our all year. That's all I'm gonna talk about. Stetson Bennett was a 4th round pick.
Yeah, like that's.
If Stetson Bennett can be picked in the 4th round, then you can do anything. I like the Diane Henley pick in the 3rd round. I thought you could have argued for him to be, the best linebacker in the draft, maybe. I can see why you put Chargers here. Maybe you don't like Quentin Johnston as a player.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying I don't know. They take the TCU's 2 best receivers.
I know it wasn't really an option for them when they picked, but a running back would have been nice considering Austin Eckler's situation.
Yeah, well, Austin Eckler said worst case scenario, he's playing for the Chargers next year, which is looking like that's going to be the case. I don't think he's going to sit out. Is what he's saying. But yeah, running back would have been nice. They didn't take one at all.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, there was really nothing on the table for him either. So
yeah. They take Darius Davis in the 4th. They got Max Duggan's 2 best receivers last year, and then they take Max Duggan. Watch out, Justin Herbert. Brandon Staley. He wants Max Duggan. He saw that grit and that heart in the Big 12 championship.
There's this thing on YouTube. I think somebody told me about it, or I read about it, something. But this dude did a simulation of Justin Herbert's career. And he did it 5 or 6 times. And every time Justin Herbert retired in 2025. or 20. It's actually 2024 or 2025, one of the two. Every single year on Madden.
Why?
So if Justin
How?
Herbert just retires out of nowhere, he's gonna pull Andrew Luck and just walk off the field. And
Yeah, Max Duggan, it's your time to shine, boy. You got your two buddies, your two best receivers from college. Then they take you. Writing's on the wall. Yeah, I don't mind that. Chargers loser pick. Mine, it was obviously the hardest. I put the San Francisco 49ers. Mainly, same way with the Dolphins. Like, they didn't have a ton of work with. They maximized, with what they got. I don't think the 49ers had a bad draft by any means. We just had to put people here in the losers. It's just they take Jair Brown in the third. They trade up for him. You could have argued he was the best safety in the draft. Jake Moody, they took a kicker at number 100. Now, okay. People can be like, why would you take a kicker with a top 100 pick? Well, Jake Moody, if you ever watched him kick, just one of the best college kickers ever. Next to like you look at Cade York and Zane Gonzalez and then there's Jake Moody. Like, he's up there with one of the best college kickers ever.
got Rodrigo Blankenship, man.
He was a second round pick. Bro was terrible. Bro was awful. I'm not even gonna talk about him. Jameis was like, go get him. Go get my boy Rodrigo. No, that's I'm thinking of the wrong guy.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Florida State kicker that was really good.
Yeah.
He had a brother too. I can't think of his name though.
Dude, I have to look that up. I was thinking of that's who I thought you were talking about. Florida State just produces like kickers who go high.
Be on the lookout for them in the AAC standing predictions. Could be up there.
Roberto Aguayo.
That's it.
He's on the Bears right now. Wow.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, you could say Roberto Aguayo is one of the great. You could argue he's the greatest college kicker ever. Didn't miss pretty much.
Yeah, he was good.
He flamed out, but obviously, but Jake Moody, one of the greatest. Like you could argue he's top 5 college kicker ever. If anybody cares to debate that, and he goes to top 100. I don't mind it. And people are like, well, he's a kicker. Okay, but if you get a kicker who just doesn't miss. Like someone like if you do you completely wipe every team and there's a fantasy draft tomorrow. Justin Tucker's going to be a first round pick. Simply,
yeah.
he just is. There's value in that. Justin Tucker has won Baltimore games before, like by himself, and
yeah, they won. Didn't they win one game this year, like 9-6?
Yeah, like there's value in that. There's value in having just like a good kicker you can just rely on to make anything. And Jake Moody can be that. So I don't mind it, and then
when your kickers kicking 75-yard field goals in warm-ups, it's probably a good sign.
Yeah. And then like Robbie Gold's gone, so like I don't mind the pick at all. Cameron Latu was a reach in my opinion. 2 picks down. I didn't think Latu was all that great. It's a product of, Bryce Young being Bryce Young, in my opinion. Dean Winters was pretty good. He's an athletic linebacker with upside. I thought it was a pretty good pick. Ronnie Bell, good wide receiver out of Michigan. I thought that was a pretty good pick. Also, Beal out of Georgia, I thought was pretty good in his limited snaps at Georgia. So I think the Niners had a good draft. It's just not as great as other people's. And then they didn't have a lot of picks outside of the 5th, 6th, and 7th round.
Yeah.
So those are my losers.
Not bad.
It's just hard to pick losers. It's just hard to pick losers when you don't really think a team just completely tanked the draft. Like there's no team in my opinion that's like the Packers from 2020 who's like, what are you doing taking this player like Jordan Love or like where's one just like was like, what are you doing pick that we just that you could think of. Like even at the time we just thought it was terrible. I can't really think of one.
I can't think of one. Besides maybe the only one I can think of might be Jack Campbell.
Nah, I didn't react like that.
Yeah, I didn't react like that, but that's the only one I can think of that you could say that for. Or maybe
I mean, like
maybe
in recent drafts,
Emmanuel Forbes.
I think in recent drafts, like just ones we can think of off the top of my head. I mean, now we can say like Josh Rosen, right? Like, what are you doing? Like you could say at the time, like, yeah, I don't like the pick, but it's like I'm trying to think of ones where we just get up off the couch, start pacing back and forth in your house, thinking like, why did this team take this player? You know,
every cornerback the Titans have taken the past 5 years.
That's a lie. Christian Fulton is good.
Christian
Fulton's good.
We've taken a bunch though.
No, we've taken a full secondary room the past 3 years in the draft. I don't know. I was just trying to think of one. Like,
I can't think of one.
Just absolutely outlandish pick. Like, there's obviously going to be busts that we just didn't know was going to be on draft night. But like, thinking of like on draft night, who's the guy who was just like, man, what are they doing? You know, I don't know. Maybe we could think of one down the road. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to see if you want to run through these schedules before I go eat real quick.
Oh, for sure. We'll run through these schedules, then we'll end the episode off here. We'll probably be maybe take another 2-week break after this episode. There's not a lot to talk about right now. I mean, we would talk about the playoffs, but we're not mainly an NBA pod.
We leave that to our guys over at Ball Oasis.
Yeah, go check out Ball Oasis. They do a great job covering the NBA.
So the NFL schedule releases tomorrow, but we got a little something today. We have our first ever Black Friday game.
That's gonna be something.
Coming in week 12, the Dolphins are going to New York to play the Jets.
Be a good game, probably, maybe.
It should be.
Probably.
It should be. Then we got our Christmas Day game, which is week 16. The Giants going to Philadelphia to play the Eagles.
Just one game on Christmas?
One game on Christmas so far that we know of, I guess.
Okay, there was like 3 last year.
Christmas Day's on a Sunday, so it's probably going to be.
I don't know. You would think.
No, Christmas Eve. No, Christmas Day is on us. No, Christmas Eve's on us. I don't know. 1 or 2. Christmas Eve's on a Sunday, I think. We got a New Year's Eve game this year.
For sure.
That'd be the Bengals at the Chiefs.
Christmas Eve is on a Sunday.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking then. I knew one of them was.
So I think it could be just one game where it's like Monday night, the Monday night football game.
Yeah.
That probably makes sense.
And then the London games, this is weird to me because in week 4, the Falcons play the Jaguars in London. And then in week 5, the Jaguars play the Bills in London.
Mm-hmm.
So the Jaguars are there 2 straight weeks. So who gets the advantage here? The Jaguars or the Bills on that second week?
Well, the Jaguars don't got to fly home.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they pretty much. I mean, I don't know. It's just every year it just seems more and more like the Jaguars get a London game every year. So it's just, I know it's like their owner is like connections with London or whatever. It just seems like the Jaguars are just gonna like relocate there at some point, you know.
Yeah, it does seem to be trending that way. And then in week 6, the Ravens and the Titans head to London.
Always a good matchup between those 2 teams. We're probably gonna get
I seen a tweet today that said no matter where they play, between the Ravens and the Titans, the field is always a loser.
Yeah. Field hates hosting that game. Yeah, I think they said there's like 14 playoff rematches this next year. It's just I hope it's just gonna be like how the NBA is this year, where it's just like a ton of parity, where it's just like nobody knows who's gonna win. They kind of have an idea, but like nobody really knows
Right.
who's the clear favorite. There's no like clear favorite. I hope it's gonna be that way because we thought it was gonna be that way last year, and then the Chiefs just ran through everybody.
Yeah. You got the Germany games too. I forgot about them. Week 9, Dolphins play the Chiefs. And week 10, the Colts play the Patriots. So,
dude, I'm thinking about like our first episode, which was
and some of these games are on Prime Video, so you know they're not going to be good.
Thursday night. The teams are punching the air, like announced on Thursday night. I know they're punching the air. Like, man, we got to play on Thursday. Anyway, I was just thinking back, like our first episode was the standings predictions. Like, it's gonna be weird, like doing that again this year. Just like knowing that was like our first episode, But
yeah,
I just can't wait for all like prediction season where every episode is just like us predicting what's gonna happen and stuff. I just think
I love basketball, but there's just nothing like football.
I know, man. It's like the longest off season ever is football off season, which is
it feels like
tragic. And then like the shortest time of the year, always. And
you can't even watch baseball because the Cardinals suck so bad.
I know, dude. The Cardinals might they're on track to be one of the worst teams of all time, record wise. We're already the worst team in the NL.
They're up. Oh, never mind. Never mind. We were winning 2-0, but now we're losing.
Gotta love the Cardinals pitching, man. Just love it. Every team besides us is like the Cubs are doing well, the Brewers are doing well, the Pirates. The Pirates were first in the NL at some point. Like the Pirates.
What gets me is, if we're gonna suck, can we at least have Jordan Walker back? Like, bring him back up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, call him up. You sent poor guy back down to Memphis.
I'm about to catch a Redbirds game and watch him play though, for real.
Like, if we're gonna play Alec Burleson, no disrespect, bro. Alec Burleson's cool. He'll hit a home run every now and then. But hey, you play J-Dub if you're just gonna play Alex Burleson, bro, or Alec Burleson. Like, come on. And we're like experimenting with Wilson Contreras as just a primary DH. Maybe play him in the outfield, like.
Or maybe let him be a catcher, which he signed him for. I don't know.
Like, maybe pay him what you paid it. Play him where you pay him to sign him, or play him. I don't know what kind of English sentence I tried to say there, but play him at catcher is what I'm trying to say. Play Wilson Contreras at center. He hasn't been terrible. It's just he's kind of in this he's kind of like an older, similar to like MJ Melendez, where MJ Melendez is like terrible defensively at catcher. So they're trying to move him to the outfield and whatnot. Anyway, the Cardinals are in shambles right now. We are horrifically terrible. All like the pitching we traded for last, like Quintana, was amazing for us last year, and we just. I don't know if we just let him go. Like the Mets got him, so maybe they just gave him the most money he's ever seen in his life, and he was like,
probably.
Sure. But I don't know. We lose Quintana, who was like really good for us last year, and then we're terrible now. We're terrible.
Sell the Clydesdales and buy some pitchers.
Like our only bright spot is Paul Goldschmidt, and he's 35. Like, there's no bright spot with the Cardinals. I hope we act like the Cubs did in 21, and we just blow it up. We just blow it all up. Keep Tommy Edman, maybe keep Nolan Arenado, but just blow it up. Trade Wilson. Obviously didn't work out. Trade Jack Flaherty. He obviously doesn't want to be here. Like every interview, he's just miserable.
Call up Jordan Walker.
Call up Jordan Walker. Trade JMO. Just trade everyone. Keep Lars. I want to keep Lars Nootbaar.
No.
Love me some Lars Nootbaar. Trade Dylan Carlson. I think he's bad. I think he's bad. Dylan Carlson. Obviously, it's looking like we lost the Harrison Bader trade, which is like, what are you gonna do? I mean, JMO is probably our best pitcher. You could obviously argue that JMO's probably our best pitcher, but Harrison Bader has been really, really good ever since he's got to New York. So
it's not like it's much of an argument. I mean, there ain't many candidates.
Yeah. Cardinals suck.
They all have like a 6 ERA.
Yeah. Cardinals are terrible.
Cards are hot.
Yeah. Not loving Cardinals baseball at the moment. They've been like, when's the last time they were this bad? Have they ever been this bad?
I don't know, but I'm supposed to go to Atlanta to watch them play in September. It's gonna be rough. Maybe they'll have it figured out by then.
I hope so. Like, golly.
I said go to Atlanta. Money. I guess I should say come to Atlanta.
Yeah, the not spending money stuff is coming back to bite us.
For sure.
But anyway, that's enough baseball talk. Just like I like talking about the Cardinals just upsets me. We're like you go into the season thinking you're just gonna win the division.
Like we should easily. Like, I'm thinking we should easily win the division. Like,
well, it's like it's always. I thought it was always just gonna be like the 2-way race between us and the Brewers, but we suck, so it's not happening. We're last, dead last
in the NL, ain't we?
Yeah,
like we were worse than the Rockies. We're worse than the Colorado Rockies. No offense, Elijah. That's
we're worse
bad.
than the Rockies. We're worse than the Reds. We're worse than the Diamondbacks aren't bad. We're worse than a lot of the bad teams. Considering you are last in the division, so we suck. We're terrible. That is gonna be the end for this episode. We appreciate you guys listening. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on post notifications so you guys never miss when we upload a podcast episode. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you guys listen to your podcast, we're there. We appreciate you guys listening. We will see you guys soon. Peace out.